What's up, Goober? When I was trying to get to level 10, I wished that I had a level 10 friend or person to show me how they did it, for them to tell me the details of what they did to get to level 10. And that idea is kind of the basis of my channel. Most of my videos, I'm just imagining myself talking to my past non-level 10 self and telling him how to get to level 10. So that's what this video is. This video is me explaining to past me how to play Mirage like a level 10. And I can't do that in 10 minutes. I can't do it in 20 minutes. I'm gonna do it in however long this video is. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, if this video does well, I'll make one of these for every single map. Please do make use of the chapters below. You can bounce around, figure out, what sections would be most important for you and watch those, or you could just watch the entire thing. I wouldn't be upset about that. But before we begin, thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. SkinsMonkey is a trusted automated CS2 trading site. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is pick something in your inventory, check how much it's worth, and then go get something new from the monkey. What's also super nice is the filters you can use to narrow down your searches. You can either use your skins to trade for new ones or deposit money with their 30% bonus offer. This becomes 35% when you use my code Wilson. Please use it. Using my code, you can also get up to $5 for free. Use my code Wilson, link is in the description. If you don't know the timings of a map, then you're going to struggle on that map. So let's talk about the important timings of Mirage. The best CT spawn will beat the best T spawn to window for this mid fight. But if the CT jumps out of window, then the best T spawn will be able to spot them. In fact, the best T spawn only beats the worst 3 CT spawns to window. With the best spawns, a CT player will beat a T player to swing underpass. When running up to short, a CT could have a T right up in their face. Insta smokes will plume in window just around 147, a couple seconds after the CT can make it to window. CTs with the best spawn for connector will get to con around 145. At this point, Ts can already be boxes and even towards chair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you made it all the way.
Did you know that your timing to get over to twitch.tv/WilsonCS2 and follow me is remarkably fast and very worthwhile? Let's fucking go, dude. Good flashes, good flashes. As a CT swinging short with the best spawn, Ts can't make it to chair even with their best spawn, but they can be quite close to it. Okay, A-site timings now. If you run ramp and a CT runs to under balk, you'll hear each other right about when you get to bottom ramp. If you peek palace on CT side, Ts can't cross to the cubby without being spotted. You also hear them if they try. A CT running to under balk can hear a T in palace once they reach the top of the second flight of stairs. A T with the best spawn running up ramp won't be able to catch a CT with the best spawn crossing towards con. However, the best T spawn will always be able to spot the cross. The timing gets spookier the worse the spawn is for the CT. For B timings, the best spawn for short will hear a B rush coming in before the Ts get into apps. Lastly, a CT jumping on top of van will be able to peek Ts before they get into close apps. Well, there are the timings for you. Now let's talk about CT side Mirage. Before we jump into how to play each specific CT position, I'm going to give you just a brief overview of the CT side default. For some reason, I could only spawn T-bots, so please imagine that these are chunky CTs holding these angles. Your first player is the A-site anchor. Their job is to control A. Our second player is the connector player. They're going to be aggressing mid early and then also helping out this A player hold A. Our third player is the window player. This is typically the Opper. This player can start window, but they also have the freedom to kind of go wherever they want on the map, wherever they think they're going to have impact. Our fourth player is the short player. This player is going to help out mid early, similar to the connector player and window player, but they're also responsible for helping out their B anchor with B executes and B rushes. Our last player is the good old B anchor. This player is going to be playing for info in apps, looking to see is there a lurk, are they rushing B, and they're going to try to stay alive as long as possible if the Ts do do come towards B. So you've probably noticed the typical default on Mirage is very mid-heavy, and that's because this is the space to fight for. Outside of that, they're just choke points. And choke points you can play for info, you can play retake on sites, but middle, this is where the timings really matter. This is the space that you want info on and you want to fight for on these defaults in your pugs. Let's start with how to play A. As an A player, your spawn doesn't really matter all too much, but what does matter is that on gun rounds, you are flashing mid from triple like this. I come around CT and I aim at this wood bit and I run, jump, throw that flash. The reason why you throw that flash right as you get to triple at the beginning of the round is because the timing works out where this flash is gonna pop right as T's are swinging top mid. After you throw the mid flash, and you're gonna throw that every single buy round, right? And if you're not throwing it on a buy round, then you tell your team, I'm not flashing mid, okay? Very important. After you throw that flash, give ramp a purposeful peek. The reason why you want to do this is that a common play for T's is to jump up and look for this pick early. Your con player should be mollying ramp for you, but one problem is that there's often a gap behind it like this, and you just need to be ready for this. So after you throw the mid flash, right, throw it, get ready, and then swing this hard and be ready for this fight. After you throw the mid flash and after you give ramp a purposeful peek, what now? Well, you can play A in 3 different solid ways. Number 1 is by playing for retake. When you play for retake, you're gonna play ticket. Your job when you're playing ticket is number 1, getting info, number 2, staying alive, and number 3, maintaining this CT space. This space is so important because this space is what allows us to retake the site after the bomb is down. When you're playing ticket, you can jump spot ramp like this, and just get info on if anybody's walking out ramp or if there's util being thrown over ramp and the T's are execing. Be cautious jump spotting like this. This is not good. The T's gonna walk out palace and just destroy you. So jump spot like this, you'll only need like 1 frame of visibility, right? Every once in a while during your jump spotting, give palace a purposeful peek because a palace player on T side can hear you jump spotting from front palace. So they might walk out and look for this pick. That's why you want to jump spot not exposed to palace. So you're jump spotting like this and then give palace a peek. Okay, nothing. Okay, keep jump spotting. Keep jump spotting. Okay, give palace a peek. Now, if you see smokes, flashes coming over ramp, your immediate reaction should be throwing a defensive smoke in front of you ticket. There are 2 reasons why throwing the smoke is so good and why you should never throw a ramp smoke if you're playing CT. Reason number 1, this smoke prevents T's from taking CT. Obviously, they can still push it and try to take it, but it makes it so much more awkward to push CT and take that space. Reason number 2, it provides you with lurk opportunities now and creates ambiguity for the T's. Now, with this smoke, even if they smoked you CT, they have to worry about you lurking through the triple side, right here. They have to worry about you lurking through this side. They also have to worry about you just sitting in the smoke and swinging off of sound, right? This is super spooky for T's and it delays their executes, it delays their plans. It's so good. So stop smoking ramp when you're playing ticket and save your smoke for that defensive smoke. Now, if you're playing ticket, don't feel like you have to 1v5 right here, right? Use that defensive smoke, but also if your teammates are super committed to mid and they're not fighting through the jungle smoke or the stair smoke, right? They're not really doing much to make stuff happen, then you shouldn't be aggressive as well. If they're quiet on the jungle side, then you trying to do something from CT isn't going to work because the T's can just focus on you, right? They're not distracted by anything. So in that case, you're gonna play just like fully for retake, back up to about here, play anti-flash, right? Don't just hold CT. You definitely can jiggle it and like timeout peaks. But for the most part, you should play anti-flash and then bang, if they flash CT, boom, you swing and you get those kills. That way you keep this space, right? And you're not like in a position where they can just 2v1 swing you, 3v1 swing you, flash you, and then swing you, right? You don't want to be vulnerable here in CT if your teammates aren't being aggressive jungle. So you flashed mid, you peeked ramp, and then you went ticket. What else can you do? You can flash mid, you peek ramp, and now you're going to play site. How do you play site? Well, there's a few different ways. Number 1, you can play off angles. This is one really common off angle here against this door is just holding this ramp walk out here. Another one is right here holding this angle. Another decent off angle is jumping up firebox, oops, and then holding this angle here. You can play top default. There's so many off angles on A site. The big thing is that if you play an off angle on A site that is designed to kill a lurk walking out ramp, then you are most likely going to be exposed to Palace. So if you want to play an off angle on site, if you want to counter lurks walking out ramp, you kind of need your window player to support you from jungle, or you need your con player to support you from stairs, or at least you need one of them to smoke Palace for you. If neither are helping you, then a slightly safer way to play it is by timing out peaks. And typically what this looks like is that you're going to sit default, you're going to hold Palace, hold Palace, hold Palace, come over, and then peak ramp. Okay, you're going to come back, hold Palace, right? You get it, come over, peak ramp. The goal here is that if somebody peaks Palace, right, you're just ready for it. And then you time out a peak on ramp, so then if somebody's walked out ramp, you hit a nice timing on them where like they've already cleared default and they're aiming somewhere else, and then bang, you swing in and kill them. You could also, of course, play under balk. Here, you also want to be timing out peaks, right? You don't want to just stand here and hold this angle. If somebody's walking out ramp, don't play just like a default angle. If they're half decent, they're going to clear these and just destroy you. Avoid playing on angles against lurks, time out peaks, or play off angles. When you see an execute coming in and you're playing A site or you're playing under balk, don't be afraid of throwing a defensive smoke just like if you were playing ticket. Defensive smokes on A are just so strong because they create so much ambiguity for Ts. If I run out ramp and the CT threw a smoke like this, now instead of being confident, oh, he's default, now he can be anywhere from default to triple to CT, and I like have to swing him from this one angle. It's super awkward, and it allows the CT to isolate fights much more effectively and to stay alive and delay. You can see all that impact from that one smoke. It is so much better than just smoking ramp. Ts are gonna lurk through the ramp smoke. They're gonna execute through it. They don't care. Everybody and their mother knows a lamp flash, right? They're just gonna exec anyways if you smoke ramp. So use smokes defensively on A site. Use them to find little, isolated fights, stay alive, delay. The third way to play A that I'm going to tell you about is by being aggressive and taking ramp or taking Palace. Real quick, how you take Palace, you just jump up default. All right, we're going. It's good to shift after you land. Otherwise, a T could hear you if you make a step peeking here. And then you're going to peek this angle. You're going to hold it. I don't like to hold on angles while standing still, so I do these little silent strafe movements. And then if nobody peeks me, I'm going to scale on this left side. Peek this angle. Okay, nobody. Peek this angle. Okay, nobody. And then peek this one, and then I'm good, I'm clearing. Okay, now I have Palace, right? Now to take a fight ramp and to try to take ramp, I'll come out CT. You can throw mid flashes like that too on the run if you're in a hurry. I'll get to default, gun out, go under, and then peek like this, right? Because I'm worried about a T walking out ramp early, I'm not going to just hold W at ramp and give them a free pick. I'm still going to be ready for a fight as I'm scaling towards ramp. Once I'm here, I like to get mad close to the wall and just wide swing. The reason why I do that is because Ts who are sitting here ramp will either be holding jungle low like this or stairs high up like this, right? And if they're holding the stairs, they're typically over towards this side. For both of those crosshair placements, if I get close to this wall and wide swing, they're going to take the fight way out here, which is like really awkward for both of them, right? So for that reason, close to the wall, bang, wide swing ramp. Okay, nothing. You can see people's feet from here, right? Some people come here and hold ramp like this. It's actually a terrible spot because if you swing ramp, you can see their feet right here and you can shoot their little toes. Once you're scaling ramp, just be careful of off angles along here and of people on the top, right? You don't want to get caught off guard. And then you can make the decision, do I want to scale and push T or do I want to stay ramp? If you want to stay ramp, I recommend you play an off angle like this. Sit right here, right? They're going to pre-aim ramp right here. And then bang, you're right here, free kill for you, right? And then if the Ts do end up coming A, you have a very fast flank, or even if they know your ramp, this still makes the situation super awkward for the Ts taking A. Also, please do, if you play for ramp or you play for Palace, right, you take one of the two, then tell your teammates that the Ts could lurk out the other, right? If I take ramp, I have to tell my team, hey, Palace is open, they could walk out Palace. Please do that. Okay, now let's move on to how to play connector. The connector player is a very important part of your CT setup, and that's because they're going to have a hand in the mid fights and in the A fights. So the two most active parts of the map, the con player is going to be aggressing and taking these fights, and if they're winning those fights, then you're probably going to have a really good CT half. As a con player, when you're in spawn, you have a decision to make, and that is if you're going to get to con via window or via A site. This decision should be made by essentially the spawn that you have. There are 5 spawns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 2 that are really bad for going A. This back one and this one right here. These two, you should just go window. Don't risk going A, otherwise your timing is super bad and somebody can be top ramp fighting you by the time you're crossing. When you're running to con from A, then you should be throwing some util for your A player, and that consists of a ramp molly. Now I come around the corner and I aim at the tip of this kind of chimney or whatever that is, and just run through the molly. I like this one because it blooms in the far back and it gets kind of deeper ramp. And so T's who are looking for that pick that we talked about when we were talking about the A site player, they can't jump up and fight behind here. They can't fight behind the molly, right? They're forced to stay down here and only look for the cross. So you're gonna come up CT, you're gonna throw this molly into ramp, and then you're gonna cross towards jungle. Make sure you look towards ramp as you cross, just so that you get the info. Is somebody there? Is somebody not there? Once you've crossed, you can throw a flash from mid like this. Avoid jump throwing this flash. If you jump throw that flash, then it can just pop over people's heads and like not do much like that. Essentially, right as you cross past this wall, you can aim up just in the air here, and as you're running, let that flash go. And that's gonna blind T's running out mid. Bang. That should help you with whatever you want to do next, whether you want to be aggressive or not. If you don't want to throw that first flash, you feel like the T's aren't insta swinging mid, then you can throw your bottom con smoke and then throw a flash like this, and then fight up middle with this flash and look for fights here. Your bread and butter as a connector player is a bottom con smoke. The reason for this is that it makes your life so much easier and you can do a lot of aggressive things with it. For one thing, holding con is naturally difficult because you have a high-low situation here, right? If a T peeks down here at the same time as a T peeking up here, you're donezo. There's no world where you win that fight. So having a smoke bottom con just isolates this fight on short for you. This smoke also enables you to do a bunch of aggressive plays and to get really active in mid. When you throw this smoke, it now allows you to lurk out behind it, be safe from top mid, and hold under if you want. Or you can just use the smoke to try to isolate fights towards top mid or towards valley. Or you can jump up on the bench and hold cat like this, and if you hear somebody like spamming top mid, right, they're shooting their AK, then you can spam through the smoke, get a kill, and then fall back into it. It also gives you this fight here towards top mid. If the T's have an op, I would generally avoid this fight because this is just an easy angle for an opper to hold, right? You're probably going to lose that fight. Otherwise, if you're feeling confident and you have a window player who's fighting people running out top mid, or you have a cat player who's fighting, then I would say go for it and go swing and go fight with them. You can also try to overswing this angle, right? Overswing it and then take a fight here, and then swing back and overswing it again. That way you just avoid that isolated fight that T's have against you right here. Now, sometimes the T's are going to mollycon at the beginning of the round. Sometimes they're going to nade it. Sometimes they're going to smoke it like this, and you're just not going to be able to get active like how you want. I still recommend you throw the bottom mid smoke. That way, at the least, like, you have the option to be aggressive through it. Even if they threw stuff con, still having the smoke down allows you to be aggressive and forces the T's to respect the fact that you can be aggressive. So it'll slow down kind of whatever they're trying to do mid. In terms of utility as a con player, you can go flash or you can go nade flash. It's kind of a tricky decision. If the T's are smoking connector consistently, like every single round, I would buy a grenade every single round. That way you can nade it, and if they're running up short, you can actually take those fights and help your short player. Another good use of your HE grenade is to nade top mid at the very beginning of the round. If they leave con open and you can get to bottom con and you're not worried about them insta swinging you, right? We know that the timing, they can already be here by the time you swing bottom con. So don't do this if you feel like they're insta like dry swinging mid. Do this if they throw a window smoke and they wait for the window smoke, right? If they wait for the window smoke, then you're going to beat their timing to bottom con before they swing mid. So that enables you to then come out bottom mid and throw a nade like this. That'll just nuke them. If they're all sitting here waiting for that window smoke to land, you could do a ton of chunk damage. Also, if the T's are throwing a top mid smoke quite often, then having an HE can be quite good because then you can nade the top mid smoke and fight like that, right? And this can also help your opper. If you come con and your opper's sitting window holding the smoke, then you can nade it for them. That landed weird, but still worked. You can nade it for them, and the Opper can just get a pick through the smoke. You might be wondering, when should I fight mid versus when should I not fight mid? Now, your default should be fighting for a mid. Mirage middle is incredibly important. This is the space that the T's want to fight for. This is the space that the CTs want to prevent the T's from taking. But some rounds, you're just not going to be able to do that. When your window player has an MP9 and they're just sitting behind the window smoke, not doing anything, your cat player / short player is playing mega passive, just sitting here, then you swinging out mid, being aggressive is super risky because you're just full solo, right? You're going to be taking like a 1v3, 1v4. So try to prioritize fighting for mid, being aggressive when you know that your window player or when you know that your short player is going to do something aggressive with you. You have to be kind of vocal, say, hey, let's fight up mid this round. Ask your window player to nade the window smoke as you fight top mid. Ask your A player to throw a second flash so that you can fight mid once you're out bottom con. Now, if your team is just, demuted, they're not saying anything, they're not helping at all, then you will kind of be forced into a more passive play style of just playing for info at con, and you're more so going to be playing for the mid round rather than early aggression. You can absolutely still get away with being aggressive early. It's just against good players. Like if the T's are swinging top mid together, then if you push up mid, you shouldn't be getting that many kills, right? You should probably just die. So here's a couple things you can do to like make aggressive stuff happen or make fights happen. Number one, if they're not smoking window and they're just insta swinging window, tell your window player to come double window with you and you guys play high low, right? They go here, you go here, and you just fight them as they swing out mid. Another coordinated aggressive thing you can do to ask your teammates is, hey, let's push mid this round, right? This is good to do when you know that the T's aren't insta swinging mid. As you saw in the timing section, if the T's insta swing mid, they'll spot you jumping out window like this. So if they're throwing like a top mid smoke or they're just waiting for the window smoke to land and you guys have decent mid spawns, then that's a good time for you to push up mid, right? Run up, play anti, and then hard swing. Another thing for you to do is just go double cat, right? In this setup, we can play one window player, one A player playing passive, and you're going to come double cat with your cat rifler, cat short, interchangeable, NA versus EU lingo. Come double cat, you can throw a flash like this, or you can just left and right click a flash behind you, and then just, wide swing and just double fight together. And then lastly, if the T's aren't throwing anything con early and they're just swinging mid, they can also ask your window player or your cat player or A player, anybody, right? Come double con with you and just double swing high low here and look for fights like that. You will, if you swing high, like be isolated right here, right? So keep that in mind, but you want to be aggressive, you want to get kills, you want to fight for mid. Those are some options for you to do with your teammates that are easy to communicate. Now in the mid round, your decision making is going to highly depend on the info you have. Let's say the T's have taken mid and you haven't really been able to be aggressive or fight through con. Then what can you do? Option number one is to re-aggro mid with your teammates. This could be like your window player swinging window and you flash over window for them from stairs like this, or this could be you guys doubling con and you just throw a flash towards bottom con, bang, and you guys go out and clear mid again. You can also ask for your A player to throw their second flash over mid like that. If you don't feel like you can coordinate like a re-aggression into middle, one option that's not that bad is getting back into A. This is good if the T's are like 4 or 5 middle and you don't want to just be isolated right here, right? How we talked about how this fight is really bad for you because they can high-low swing you. If you don't want to just stand here and take these really bad fights, then you can just leave. Don't play top con, commit back into A, and then get into a setup with your A player. If you are able to get over towards ramp and take ramp, then you being ramp and your A player being default is actually a pretty good setup because your A player can just sit here and hold palace while you're holding the jungle cross for your A player. And then once you take contact on this cross from ramp, then your A player from default can swing. They should be getting, at least a double kill if the T's are running up jungle onto A site. The third way you can play around con in the mid round is more so from jungle / top con and just getting info, right? You can jiggle here, see if any T's are going to push you con. If not, okay, good. That's good info to have. If yes, maybe dropping a molly top con if it feels like they're going to rush you after you see them. That can be good. And then after that, you're more so going to be playing from jungle. So back here's not a bad fight. You just have to be worried about your crosshair placement here, because if you hold this angle, then if they wide swing con, your crosshair is going to be mega far away. So holding an angle like this can be kind of better. That way you're not stuck between two different angles. You can also play off angles kind of up here too. These are okay for catching somebody just lurking up con, but if there's multiple T's pushing you con, then you're very tradable here. So I like this if you just think that there's one con who's going to walk up and you're just going to take an isolated fight. Now let's say instead of the T's having taken mid early, you guys as CTs took mid early from these T's. There's not a soul here. What do? Well, a good thing for you to do is come back towards A and become a second A player. If mid is empty, then that means it's probably going to be a B exec or an A exec, and in pugs and games with randoms, people much prefer going A. Now, how do you counter an A exec from jungle? We're expecting a stairs smoke, we're expecting a jungle smoke, so our plays through jungle are going to be surrounding these two smokes. One thing you can do is if you come to this corner here and you see this wood bit right here, you just left click a molly and you can shift walk, left click, throw a nade. If the T's are running out ramp, this is going to do a shit ton of damage to them. Through this jungle smoke, you can make a ton of plays. Number one, you can nade the smoke, right? And this is especially good if you have your window player here with you and you're just fighting these T's who are crossing towards sight. Number two, you can lurk through the edge of the smoke and play around here. Even if they throw a molly towards here, benches, you can edge the smoke and not burn from the molly. I took one tick, that's unfortunate. But you can sit here and look for a kill and then fall back into the smoke. If you want to be really aggressive, and this is especially good if your A player is playing on site, right? They need help. You can do a flash over the palm trees here. You can left click it or left and right click it, and you can just push this jungle smoke and just go and just fight while your A player is fighting from under default or wherever they are. Another cheeky play you can make is dropping sandwich while these smokes are up. This is good to do if your A player is on site fighting and you want to drop and help them fight, right? You drop sandwich and then you take these fights as they're fighting from default or under, and now you guys have a little crossfire. If you're playing mid early and you notice like, okay, the smokes are coming in, one option you have too is just to full clear under or full clear top mid, or do both. If you know that your A player is playing really passive and they're not going to fight the A execute, they're going to play fully for retake, then you just full clearing these lurks is really effective, because you're going to catch a T down here just walking under, or you could catch a T trying to lurk out mid early. That way, once you clear both of those, then you can full focus on the retake and not have to worry about a T walking up con late. One util set you can throw from jungle if you're playing for retake or you're trying to contest the bomb plant is you come into this corner, you see this right window right here. Bottom right, you throw your molly. Top right, you throw your nade. Bang. This is going to absolutely nuke default and kill anybody who's planting right here in this corner. If you aren't smoked stairs or jungle and the T's are coming out ramp and they're fighting your A player, you can throw a flash like this just against the wall and then swing with that, and that'll pop down here. You can also do the same from jungle, right? Just run through your flash there and then swing with that, and that's going to be really hard for the T's to react to. Also with your flashes, just flashing behind your A player is really good, or flashing for ramp just around here, right? Just flashes in front of them. Those are really solid as well. Just communicate them and tell them, hey, I'm flashing for you, tuck. Okay, flashing, bang, and then tell them to swing. So flashing for your A player, really solid as a con player. Let's move on to how to play window. Window is the opper's position, and the title for this position being window is a bit misleading, because if your window player is playing window every single round, then they're doing something wrong. What I mean by that is that the opper should be going where they feel like they're going to have impact, where they're going to go get a kill. It's not key that you have a player in window every single round, right? I'm not defending a bomb site here. I'm just defending space. However, window is just a very powerful position, and it's the best timing to mid that the CTs have. So starting your half by defaulting towards window and playing in window is good, and then once you recognize what the T's are doing, then you branch out and you mix it up and you do stuff that you think is going to work against what the T's are doing. So let's start with plays that you can make from window. Let's look at early round spawns, right? We have middle spawn, we have this spawn, and then we have this spawn. These two spawns against this wall that are closest to window, they're going to beat every single T spawn. But this middle spawn is going to lose to the best T spawn window. So if I use that middle spawn and I peek window, the T could already be out in this space, and that's quite spooky. So if you don't have one of the good spawns, either A, just don't peek window, right? I don't want to swing window with my op if I think that opper could already be posted on me, right? They're just most likely going to win that fight. They should. Or B, ask your A player to flash mid. As this window player, you have to be very conscious about, is my short player fighting mid? Is my con player fighting mid? Is my A player flashing over mid for me at the beginning of the round? Your job when you're sitting window is not to 1v5 Ts running out mid. It's impossible. With an op, you can just get one and then fall off, right? But re-peeking into 4 more people, you're probably just gonna die. You need help. Middle on Mirage is a group effort. It's not the window player's job to hold mid. That's ridiculous. So your reaction, if your team is not helping you mid early, right? They're not flashing mid, they're not fighting mid, and you have an op and you have a good spawn, absolutely come up and hold for the peek and try to get one. Depending on what you see, you can re-peek, right? If you get one and then like you see another one swing and you're feeling good, then totally go for the re-peek. In general, you're probably going to get one and then have to fall off. And this is assuming they're not even smoking window early. If they are smoking window early, sometimes you will just be able to catch them swinging before the smoke pops. Otherwise, this is the must-know util as a window player. You're going to come into this corner right here, crouch. I aim at the corner of this splotch right here, right there, and then right-click jump through. And this is going to explode any window smoke and let you peek middle. Bang, and then I'm peeking middle. What you can also do is the same lineup with a flash. This is significantly better in the mid round when you think that Ts are going to be scaled down towards bottom con, valley, right? They're going to be in this area. If you throw this at the very beginning of the round, it's not going to blind top mid people really at all. It doesn't do anything, right? If they're boxes and you throw this flash, it's just not going to blind them. So save it for the mid round, right? Use the nade early, save your flash with that lineup for later on. Another way you can counter the window smoke is by coming against this pillar, right clicking, and then jumping onto the pallet here in the corner. It blows the smoke open and it gives you an opportunity to get a pick top mid. If the Ts are smoking window and they're not swinging mid until the smoke lands and plumes and you don't get any opportunity for a pick, then here's a couple things you can do to counter that. Number 1 is going for the cat jump or the short jump for you EU folk. This is really good when you think that the Ts aren't going to insta swing mid. If you watch the timing section at the beginning, best CT spawn versus best T spawn, the best T spawns are going to be able to catch you jumping in the air and you're just going to be dead. Never do this against a team that is just dry swinging, insta swinging mid. It's super spooky. Once you're here, you can either stay here and hold above a top mid smoke. That is a really nice play and an easy way to get a pick, right? If you're here, you can look here and look against the back wall, get a kill, fall. If they're not throwing a top mid smoke and they're just waiting for window smoke to land, then I would recommend instead of staying up here and holding this, then you make the jump, you fall off, and you get onto this angle here on short. This is so strong because your timing here is so much faster than any short player could ever make it here. So as they're swinging, they're going to be looking con. Nobody's going to be looking at you because it's just impossible for you to be here unless you did the exact play that you just did. The other movement play that you can make is jumping into ladder room. Now, I'm not going to go into like how to make these jumps. I think that'd be a little bit of a waste of time because there's a lot of videos about how to make these cat jump, the ladder room jump. I'm sure CS2 Kitchen has some good ones. If you make this jump and once you're here on short, your timing once again is so good, especially if the Ts are delaying their mid take. That would kind of be the only time that you're making this play, that you're here on short peaking way faster than they're ready for. And if you're, scared to go for this jump or you don't feel confident in it, you can have somebody crouch right here and then just boost you up into ladder. It's not as fast, but you still get there on a timing that the Ts won't expect. Aside from the short jump and the ladder room jump, you can just jump out window towards bottom mid, and there's a few things you can do. Number 1, you can jump out and then you can just play towards under, right? You can play here, hold this angle, or you can just play here and hold this right side angle. It's risky because of course somebody could be under. So either you have a hard read, right? I don't think they're playing under at all, or you just smoke under and then you be ready for somebody to nade this or to run through it or to try to fight you through it after you get a kill. If you don't want to go under, then your plays should kind of center around going towards con. So if you're jumping out window and you want to do a play towards con, ask your con player to throw a bottom con smoke. That way you can play around it, right? You can hold this cross here. You can also push mid off rip and play in front of the smoke here, play this angle. and then bang, you get a kill, and then you immediately fall back into the connector smoke. It's just key that if you're jumping out bottom mid with an op, your con player throws the smoke. That way you have an out. You can't be stuck bottom middle, no con smoke, bang, and then you're just going to get traded, right? You're just going to die. So make sure they're throwing a bottom con smoke, or just ask them to very politely and purposefully, can you please throw a bottom con smoke for me? One play that you wouldn't want your con player throwing a bottom con smoke for would be if you want to do the bench peek. This is kind of best if the T's are smoking in connector like this. Some teams, some players you play against will just throw the smoke every single round. And if they throw that and window, then one thing you can do is jump out window, jump on top of bench, and hold this angle. And once the T swing, bang, you get your kill, and you just fall back into, you know, the smoke that the T's threw, and you use that as cover. The reason you don't want your con player throwing a smoke is because then it'll just cover the angle, and you won't be able to see this cross here. Sometimes as a window player, you're not going to want to just throw your body out at mid, right? You're going to be in a more of a info supportive, trying to help your team type role. So when you come window and you hold early and nobody swings, then maybe you get smoked window. If your team wants to still aggro mid, or you still want to have a little bit of impact mid, you want to scare the T's, you can come here into this corner, aim at this line where the roof meets the wall, and then shift, don't move your mouse. Once you get to the middle window, run and left click throw. Come here, right here. Don't move. I don't have my mini map, so I might screw that up a little bit, but yeah, there you go. So if you tell your team you're doing that and you molly top mid boxes, and then, you know, you have two people swing out con, or your con player swings and your cap player swings at the same time, right? Everybody's just trying to fight mid at the same time. Your A player flashes. That's kind of the dream scenario, right? In a pug, people are actually fighting mid and you're mollying boxes. You know, I wouldn't throw this every round. I wouldn't fully trust your teammates to make use of it, but it's definitely a good one to know when you're playing with a good team or a coordinated team on middle. Outside of window, dude, the world is your oyster. The Mirage is your oyster as an opper. There's so many plays you can make, so I can't talk through every single one, but I'm just gonna like rapid fire, just spit off some plays just so that maybe there's stuff you haven't thought of. So, number one, peek palace. Hold this peak, bang, get your kill. Number two, just play ticket. If you play ticket, this is a really effective way to play retake A, right? Because you get your one, and then you can fall, and you can stay alive, and now you're playing retake, and now you can enable two riflers to go towards con and fight mid. It's very valuable for you to be ticket on some of these rounds. You can go for a ramp peek, so this is typically if you have the best A spawn. You want to come here, and then you can just double zoom and look for the head of the person who's crossing. You can also open the angle up for yourself by, as you come this way, you jump on the bench, twist your op, and the double peek, double zoom from up here. That makes the shot a little bit easier to hit. It just takes slightly longer to do that. Of course, you can just start connector with your op, right? You can just double con early. Either you can smoke bottom con and peek top con. You want to make sure your A player is flashing for you when you do this peek, because this is just a fully isolated fight. So sometimes you're going to have somebody with an op just holding you here, and you don't want to take this dry. Their timing is always going to be better to this spot than your timing to top con. So kind of disadvantageous if you don't have a flash coming in from A to take that peek. You can also just peek bottom con without that smoke, right? Or you can throw that smoke and then peek in front of it, like how you did when you were in windows, right? Similar play, but this time you're just coming through con, you get your one, and then you fall back through the smoke and get back into con. You can also just get into a bunch of double A setups with your teammate, right? So if you come towards A and you start at triple and you hold ramp, and then your A player gets close to ramp, you can flash them into ramp by aiming at this bit of wood. Flash, bang, and then the rifler here is just swinging into ramp and taking the space. And that way, if the T's do like insta run out A, you have two players here, right? You're triple, your A player is scaling up towards ramp, and you're helping them take space ramp with that flash. Coming towards B with your op can be really strong, because if you know that the T's are lurking one in apps a lot, then you coming apps with your op is just essentially a free kill, right? They're not expecting the op to hold apps. So you can either make this van jump, which can be quite tricky. I still mess it up sometimes. Or you can have somebody boost you, right? They can crouch here, and then you jump on top of their head and you go on top. Or if they stand right here, just past this line, you can jump onto their head from here, right? So they'll be standing there, you jump onto their head, and then boom, you're up. Alternatives, if you don't want to get into apps, if that feels kind of spooky, then you can just play this angle, right? On bottom van, you can play on top van. I wouldn't recommend playing this angle. This angle just kind of sucks. I would avoid coming towards apps when you know your opponents are on an eco, right? You don't want to get ran over by Tech 9s, Mac 10s. You also don't want to give a deagle this kind of opportunity to just 1v1 you on a headshot angle. So So if it's an eco and you really think it's going to be B, then I would play, you know, further back towards site and just hold window, or even just start short early, right? Start double short. And then if it is B, you have these nice long range angles that you can take for a B rush. Coming short with your op can be quite strong, especially if you do something to get a good timing out here, right? Either the window jump to short or the ladder jump to short. But if you're coming through B over to short, getting towards ladder is still kind of ideal. The reason for that is being around this area with an op, it's really restricting because these fights for you, if you look towards con or bench, are really bad. These headshot angles are awful for you. And then you also have the possibility of somebody swinging here. So that's kind of mid-round short is better for a rifler. Early round, your focus should be getting picks towards top mid from ladder or from a good timing, and you're peeking up this way. When you're rifling window, you don't have the ability to just sit here and just hold it dry and get one and fall off with minimal risk, right? If you come here early and the T's swing 4 out mid without smoking window, flashing anything, you're maybe gonna get one, like maybe, if you really destroy one person fast. Otherwise, you're just gonna die. You don't have that luxury that you do with an op to take that fight. Instead, as this window player, you got to get a bit more creative. So if you want to hold the mid swing dry, it's better to ask your connector player or your short player to come window early with you, and you guys double hold it with rifles, right? And then you guys take those fights together. If the T's aren't into swinging, instead they're throwing the window smoke and they're waiting for it and then they swing, then getting up mid with your rifle is really strong. This is, I mean, you see Donk make this play so much in his pugs. He just runs up mid and kills people. This is really good to do, again, together with a teammate, right? Have somebody come with you, you guys double swing, and your A player's flashing for you guys from A to go for that peak. Coming double short early too is good. Coming short with your short player, and then you guys swing. You can left and right click a flash like that above window to swing. You can also bounce a flash just against the blue bit right there. Bang, and then you guys are double swing off short together. That's really good to do if you have a connector player who will come window and throw the boxes molly, right? That'll make that play even better. But the molly is kind of a luxury in pugs. You can't really expect people to do that. So even if it's not there, still doing that double swing off short can help you guys control mid. If you don't want to do anything early, then if you're rifling in window, playing more so for the mid round is better. And the reason for that is because you can't take these early fights. Once the T's are scaled up down bottom valley, up short, right, we're in the mid round, then they're more vulnerable to more things, right? If I'm up here short, I'm exposed to con, I'm exposed to window, and somebody who's close short could just swing me here. But early round, if I'm sitting here, right, I'm only exposed to connector. If I'm sitting here, I'm only exposed to short. If I'm sitting here, I'm only exposed to bottom con, right? So as the T's scale further down mid, they become more and more vulnerable to CT aggression, which means you want to hit that timing where, okay, the T smoked window, they took mid, they were at boxes, and now they're scaling down, and now they're trying to do something mid, right? Now they're trying to push short, or they're trying to get up con, whatever, but they're sitting in valley and they're figuring out what they're going to do. That's when it's a really good time to throw this nade and have your connector player swing at the same time and have your short player swing at the same time. Or you go double con, and let's say bottom con is smoked. That's a good time for you guys to nade it or to flash through and to get really aggressive in retaking mid with your rifles. Regardless of if you're opping or if you're rifling, your positioning in the mid round is incredibly important because you are the rotate player, right? You should be rotating towards A or you should be rotating towards B, depending on what's happening on the map. Because of how frequent A hits are or A splits are, you should typically be rotating towards ticket instead of rotating towards market. Now, if the T's are in a really bad buy, then the chances of them going towards B goes up, and then maybe, okay, market's a better decision. On full buy rounds, I would kind of default towards rotating towards ticket if you don't want to stay window. Now, you would want to rotate off of window if, let's say, you get one and then bang, you're smoked window. Okay, now it's a 5v4. You guys don't need to fight for mid to win this round, right? The T's are at a man disadvantage. Now coming towards ticket, reinforcing A, and we kind of give space mid. That's really strong. Another reason you'd want to rotate is because you're sitting window and nothing is happening. It's super boring, right? Nobody's swinging. It's starting to feel like a sight hit is going to come in. Then you should rotate to where you think that sight hit is going to happen. If you think it's A, then rotating jungle is okay. The reason why it's not great is because you're going to be facing right side smokes, right? And you can't do a whole lot through these as an opper unless you have a nade and you get a good timing where you nade it, bang, and then you catch them crossing, you get a kill, and then you tuck. Otherwise, you're gonna have more options to make plays via CT. The last two things I'll say about window, just in general, number one, and you probably picked up on it so far, you should op. You should be comfortable opping if you're gonna play window. If you don't op as a window player, you're kind of wasting the role. You're wasting the position in a way because it's just you're limited by rifling. Number two is that as this window player and just in general as an opper, you need to be very vocal about what you're doing and what you expect your teammates to do. So if I'm making a play where I'm jumping out window, I need to tell my team that. I need to ask my con player to throw that bottom con smoke if I want it. Otherwise, I might just die out bottom mid, right? When you're making plays as an opper, you're going to have to rely on your teammates at times. And if you can't rely on your teammates, then you're going to have to play in kind of a bit more of a passive way. You can still get away with some aggressive stuff for sure, but certain things just aren't going to work without your teammates' help. So be vocal, ask for things, ask for flashes, ask for smokes, tell your teammates I'm rotating here, let's go do this, right? Come up with ideas, be a vocal player. It's going to help out tremendously. Next, let's talk about how to play short. Short is kind of similar to connector, where early round you're going to be focused on mid and helping your teammates with the mid fight or just taking these mid fights, and then more so in the mid round or late round, then you become a bit more concerned about B, or you're concerned about lurks depending on what's going on, but you're going to have a hand in the B fights and a hand in the middle fights. As a connector player, unless you're making the window to short jump or you're doing the ladder jump, you have the worst timing to mid compared to the connector player and the window player. This means that unless your team has a plan for this round, you need to be running up here towards short, staring at the mini map, looking at what is my con player doing? What is my window player doing? Are they fighting? Are they passive? What's up with that? Because that's going to inform you on how you should start this round. If you see that your window player is fighting, then you can come around to this left side and throw a flash like this that'll pop above window and it won't blind your window player if they're fighting right here. If they're not fighting but window isn't smoked and you want them to fight and you say, hey guys, let's go fight, then you can just throw a flash like this above the blue building, bang, and swing with that, and then that one your teammates can swing off of. It's just these flashes that are thrown deeper can blind your window player, so make sure that they're not just holding it with an op and then you throw that, you're gonna full blind them. If the T's are being really aggressive and you can hear your con player fighting, you want to get out and you want to help as fast as possible, then come up short, throw a flash like this, and then just bang and just insta swing off of this and look for a fight. You can also just left and right click a flash behind you like this. That works totally fine too. And neither of those are going to blind your window player. Now, in the timing section, we saw that the short player, even with a really good spawn, can get up and then the T's will be really close short if they full on rush it. So again, stare at the minimap. Think about, is that a possibility for me here, right? Do I hear a window smoke land? Sometimes your window player is going to get smoked off or not peek and just not tell you. What do you know about the round? If you know nothing and you get up short and you hear some footsteps up short, might be better just to block. Just smoke close short. Don't even mess around with that because you could just be swinging short into a 1v5. This is one of those positions where it's just you really kind of depend on your teammates' info because you're so late to the party that if they don't give you info, you kind of have to play the role in a little bit more of a passive way. Now, if the T's aren't going out mid super fast and you have the timing to get towards ladder, then getting towards ladder is really strong if the other team is a mid-heavy team. If the other team is just lurking mid or not really touching mid and they're just going towards sites, being in ladder is really not that good because if they throw an A execute, you're just going to rotate right. But if they go B, you're leaving your B player just fully on an island, and that's a lot of trust to have in a random teammate as a B player, right? If you're duoed with them and you trust them more, then committing harder into mid and getting into ladder can be quite good. If you don't really trust them to hold B, then you will want to lean a bit more towards B. Some pugs, some games, the other team's just never going to go B and you could just full focus mid. So again, similar to window, similar to con, it's one of those roles where you really have to analyze what are the T's doing? Where can I put myself where I'm going to have a lot of impact? As a short player, you're often going to be reacting to fights or reacting to sound that your teammates are making. One example is sometimes you're going to be playing close short like this, and you're going to be holding bottom con or looking towards bench. And the reason why it can be good to be up close like this is because if somebody's being loud short, bang, you're just insta swinging and you just kill them here if they're fighting towards con. Of course, you have to be worried about chair, right? But you can also throw util towards chair by coming here, just lining up kind of like this, like the lamp is in the red, and you just shift walk, throw util towards the lamp or a little bit above it. and then that's going to land in chair and molly out chair. So you can throw that, and then if you want to aggro up cat, you can just take like a fight here. If you know there's somebody chair, they're going to be here, or they're going to be dropped valley, and then that allows you to aggress without somebody swinging you from chair. As a short player, you can throw a ton of really useful util for your teammates, and just in general. Firstly, you have a really easy way to throw util towards underpass, right? You just throw them over the sign, bang, bang, and you're going to do a shit ton of damage to people who are close under. You can also resmoke bottom con for your teammate. There's this lineup that's an old CSGO lineup where you come here and you aim, like imagine this is a box, you just aim in the middle of it, left click throw. I prefer just coming back here, and then at the bottom of this, you just left and right click jump throw. This one is much faster and kind of plumes outwards more, which is what you want from a bottom con smoke in CS2. So if you want to resmoke bottom con for your teammate, come here, left and right click jump throw at this dark spot. That's the perfect bottom con smoke for con. If you have a teammate in duo and you want to help them out, you can get into this corner, aim at the left side of this wood thing here, and just run left click throw, and this is going to nade the window smoke out so your window player can peek. You can also throw a flash that pops right above window. That's really effective. If you just get back here right close to this door, you're not exposed to cat. You're going to line it up where this line, you're aiming about in the bricks where this line would meet it. Then you're going to run left click jump throw, and that flash is going to pop right above window, and anybody that's chilling in valley is going to get full blinded from this. Okay, let's talk about smokes that land on short. One smoke that you're going to be throwing occasionally will be this smoke here. This smoke is really effective. I would say not at the beginning of the round, but more so when the T's are going to be going up con or they're going to be going up short. At the beginning of the round, it blocks your window player off from getting info short. Somebody can sneak up behind the smoke and kind of use it to isolate fights towards con. It just kind of restricts info mid when if we want to take mid, we don't want to restrict info mid, right? It's better in the mid round where, let's say T's are grouping short, they just smoked con, they want to go up short, and then you throw this smoke, right? And then this is really spooky for them to push. Or they do the opposite. They smoke you off short. In reaction, you throw that smoke, and now if they want to go up con, they have to worry about you pushing the short smoke because nobody can hold that smoke from chair anymore, right? You could just push it here and isolate these fights towards con. It's better as kind of a stuffing tool or as like a scary, like, you know, oh shit, now we can't push con or now we can't push short because the short player threw this smoke. The other smoke that you can kind of make plays around is a top mid smoke. If the T's are consistently throwing a top mid smoke, then sometimes disrespecting it and getting up this way can be really effective. This is just like a cheeky, sneaky little play. In CSGO, people used to push this smoke all the time. I feel like I haven't seen somebody push a top mid smoke in CS2 in like months. I don't know. People just never do it for some reason. So this can be a cheeky way if they're super heavy mid, right? Push up here. You can even get into the smoke and then walk out this way and just find a couple free kills. Cheeky little play for you to do. One thing to be cautious about when you're swinging mid from short is that you are just exposed to everything, right? The connector player has the luxury of swinging and not being exposed to top left, so they can isolate fights a bit easier, especially if they have their smoke down bottom mid. On short, when you swing, you have a terrible timing to short, and it's just everything's open. So if you're being really aggressive short, try to either get somebody to come with you or make sure you're swinging like off somebody else's info, because if you swing and you overswing, you take a fight here and somebody swings here, you should just die, right? You should just lose that fight. So what you can do if you have teammates who are down to coordinate a little something, if you feel like you're confident swinging off short, you can ask your window player, hey, molly boxes once we get up to short, have a teammate come with you short, and then you guys just flash against the wall and then double swing, and hopefully your A player flashes as well. And you guys swing out and you take these fights once boxes is mollied. When you're being aggressive, if you're confident that you're going to take a fight in this area, then you can throw just a flash valley like that and then swing off of that. It won't blind you, and anybody who's left side boxes or playing Del plan or just out in the open, right, they're going to be full blinded by this flash, and they can't really do anything about it aside from run away and turn. When you do have to turn back and focus on B, don't feel like you have to 1v5 T's running out of apps. This is a repeating theme on Mirage I want you to think about, is that you don't have to 1v5 people as they're swinging out and taking space. Your job as a cat player is more so to be the person who kills people, but that means that you can be a little bit more baity and a little bit more picky choosy about how you take fights, right? Your B player should be the one who's jump spotting, they get the info, they throw their smoke, and they just try to stay alive, right? They force the T's to try to go find them. You, as this short player, get to picky choosy which fights do I want to take, and one way you can effectively do that is if the T's are throwing good flashes, they're blinding you, they're getting out apps, is to not fight them in apps, but instead fight them as they jump out, right? You're going to catch T's swinging this way, who are trying to clear bench, try to find your B player. Once they're out apps, they're going to be more spread out and you're going to be able to isolate fights easier. So if you're playing around this, right, this is a really strong place to play to hold apps from if you're a short player. When you play around this, right, maybe take one fight apps and then let them drop and isolate fights from there. Make them come get you and find you and make them go chase the B anchor as well. If you stand here and let them just 4-man swing apps with their MAC-10s, AKs out, right, you're probably just going to get traded. The other thing is that you can throw really good util into apps from short, right? You can throw that nade. That's just going to nuke everybody. You can throw a molly from there. So early on in the round, you're going to get B info before your B player does because you're coming up this way towards short, right? You're going to default towards mid early. If you hear all those footsteps in apps, and make sure, please, if you play short and you hear people running in apps, tell your B player. So you hear those footsteps, okay, you can immediately come back and you can just util dump into apps, right? Like that. And then you can either tuck, or you can play towards here. This is really effective as well. You can also, of course, play back here. This is better to do if the Ts are on an eco, right? You know they're on pistols, they're on MAC-10s, whatever, and you want to maintain that range advantage. It's just if you do this and they're on a full buy, they're not great fights, and you're also super separated from sight, so it's a bit tricky. And sometimes you're going to get smoked off short right here. The last thing I'll mention is that as a short player, your job isn't only to be concerned about short and to be concerned about B, but you're also responsible for helping your connector player control con. That's why Ts always have to throw util towards short, right? They have to molly it, or they have to smoke it, or they have to do something when they want to go up connector. So however you can make it uncomfortable for the Ts to go up con, whether it be, right, they smoke you short and then you molly into con, or you drop a nade bottom con, or you throw this smoke and then you lurk out behind it and you push and you try to, you know, catch them. Whatever you can do to either get info con or just make Ts uncomfortable in con is really strong. I don't want you to think that short player, your job is only short. That's all you have to be worried about. You should be worried about con too and help your con player control that space. And that's why having smokes ready to be able to re-smoke bottom con can be really strong as well. The last CT position we're going to talk about is the B anchor. The most boring, but also the easiest position on Mirage is the B anchor position. And the reason for that is because the floor of being a B anchor is really high when you know the utility and you know how to jump spot correctly. You can be like a really bad player, or just not really, but you could be a really bad player and still be a good B anchor. You could be in a lobby that's significantly higher elo than you, everybody's better than you, and still be a good B anchor. One way you can make efficient use of your molly is by coming here early round, like right off of spawn. You're going to aim about here, and then you're going to run and left click throw. It's a loosey-goosey lineup, but the goal is to get the molly deep into apps. This denies Ts from getting into apps early, and it threatens that, hey, now you could be on Valk, you could be in apps. It's very spooky for the Ts. What it also does is that if they're just trying to lurk, maybe it'll make a tick sound, maybe you get info off of it, and your short player will be able to hear that. And then if the Ts aren't rushing, then you want to play B for info. The way you do that is by jump spotting, right? Play for info and then use your utility in an efficient way. So there's a couple of different ways you want to jump spot, and the reason I'm talking about this, I know it's boring jump spotting, but you don't want to get owned while you're jump spotting. If you jump spot incorrectly, people can come here, look for a pick, and just kill you. The two ways you want to jump spot is number one, jumping like this. When you do these side-to-side jump spots, you want to make sure that when you're coming from this way to that way, that you're jumping early enough where you're just getting a glimpse of it. You don't need full visibility for a really long time. This is super unnecessary. You just want a little glimpse. The other way you can jump spot is by being in this corner, and then as you come down, right, you're going to jump. As you fall down, you're going to strafe to the right towards the bottom of your jump, and then that gives you a brief look-see-who into that angle right there. You don't want to jump like this. You're going to die. Jump and then strafe, jump and then strafe, jump and then strafe. That way you just get a brief glimpse and you get the info and you're not exposed for very long. When you're jump spotting, you need to be aware of kind of two things similar to A, where either you're worried about a execute or you're worried about a lurk. If you see a lurk, right, you're jump spotting and you just see one person just walking up, then you don't have to go full panic mode, especially if there's no util coming in, right? If you see one person and util comes in, then you can expect it to be an execute. If you see one person and there's no util, then maybe it's just one lurk. And your reaction to that could be a deep nade. Your reaction could be a deep molly. And then you want to take the fight, right? Deep molly, jump up, look for the fight. Okay, they fell back behind the molly. Now you kind of reclaim that app space. You can smoke it if you want, jump balcony, be aggressive. Or if you don't want to be as aggressive and you don't want to use your util, you can fall back and just get into an off angle either towards bench. You can play up here. Oops. It's right on the tip of this right here, and hold this. This is a half decent off angle too right here as people walk out this way. They're going to be clearing this. They're going to be clearing window, and then they expose themselves to you right there. There's a lot of different off angles you can play. So it's kind of the decision between, do I want to, use my util to block them from taking apps or lurking in apps, and then I can get into apps, or I can just hold it from here, right? Hold the smoke from here. Or would I rather save my util and hold it, expecting them to lurk out? Now, if the T's are executing B, you're jump spotting, you see 3 people, utils coming over, then your instant reaction should be smoking right here and getting out and staying alive. The reason why the smoke is so good is because if T's are coming out, right, they can't see jail, which is right here. They can't see bench. They can't see backside. If they want to take the space, they have to push the smoke, or they have to funnel themselves through mid sight, which exposes themselves to both short and to bench, which is a really tricky crossfire for them to push. So once you throw the smoke, there are many different ways you can play it, right? You can throw it, you can come here towards jail and just hold the smoke push. You can play bench and hold the van jump. You can get into sight and play a crossfire right here with your short player. You can get really cheeky, throw the smoke, fake the runaway, and then walk back and play towards van. You don't want to do this if the T's mollied van, right? This smoke, I don't think really ever extinguishes the molly unless it's like a really bad van molly. So if they don't molly van, you can fake it and do that, and that could get you a couple pretty sweet kills. Otherwise, right, your job as a B anchor, stay alive. If you didn't use your molly earlier, you can drop the smoke, and then you can molly mid-sight like that, and then bang, you're staying alive, you're delaying the T's for an insane amount of time, you're chilling. As a B anchor, the longer you stay alive and the more space you're able to control and keep as CT space, the easier it is going to be to retake this site or for your team just to win this round. So what I mean by that is that if you stay alive, right, you spot somebody, okay, you throw the smoke, you get out, maybe even run all the way towards empty right here. But if you can control this space, right, this rectangle here, then your retake is so significantly easier. Retaking B is incredibly difficult when T's are able to get up here towards E-box, when they're able to get up here, right here, close door, or even if they're able to get into market, then that retake is like almost impossible. If you can keep this space and allow your team to get out of market and retake the site from the space, that you're gonna win the round. So similar to the short player, that means that you don't need to 1v5, spray them down, go for a hero play. That means that if you get back here, you stay alive, and then you find ones, right? Find one-on-one fights where you can isolate them, kill them, stay alive, right? That way, you maintain the space, you take 1 or 2 fights that aren't super risky. If I just swing this while the T's are running out bulk, I could be taking 1v3, right? That's a terrible fight for me. So instead, maybe I drop my molly default, and then I stay alive here in empty, and if my short player takes contact with a guy mid-sight, right there, then bang, I'm gonna swing off that, and I'm gonna try to kill them, and I'm gonna try to stay alive. And I'm listening, okay, listening if they push this smoke. I'm trying to keep a mental image of where the T's are on site, so then I can try to isolate these fights as easy as possible and to stay alive. One piece of utility you can use from empty that's like surprisingly effective is you just aim about straight up, maybe a little bit more behind you, left and right click through a flash. This is so strong because T's won't really be able to see this. Like obviously a guy default could kind of see it, but somebody over here won't be able to see it because it's just covered by the green. It's really difficult to react to, and it doesn't make any bouncing sounds. And in the flurry of a rush, right, T's are running out, like all of them get blinded by it, and they aren't likely to be looking there or noticing a flash coming out from empty pillar. Now that we know how to play CT side Mirage, let's talk about the T side. And we're going to start just again with a brief overview of the T side default. T side defaults are kind of less talked about in pugs and games with randoms, right? You join CT, everybody kind of says their position, hopefully, like I'll play window, I'll play con. That doesn't happen on T side. It's a bit more flowy, less structured, but having a good idea for what a T side default looks like is still a really good thing because then it allows you to fill the gaps, to know where to play when you're not sure of where you should put yourself. Also, again, I was only able to spawn CT bots, so imagine that they're T's, all right? Let's start with middle. On your typical T side default, you're gonna have 3 players towards mid. 2 of them are going to be aggressing, while 1 is often throwing supporting flashes for them. Over towards A, you have your A lurk. This player is trying to walk out A and get a pick onto the A player after these middle players are able to take some space down mid. This player can rotate, either go ramp or they can come through palace and try to get a pick here. Either way, it's just kind of up to them of which one they think they're gonna have more success lurking at. Our 5th player is the B lurk. They get to decide whether they want to go underpass and help with mid, or if they want to go into apps. I'll talk more about that decision in the role specific sections. The first role in the T side default slash just a general concept that's good to know how to do is lurking towards A. As this A lurk early round, you don't really need your smoke. Your job as an A lurk is to control ramp or control palace and then walk out in the mid round and try to get a kill, or in early round, we'll talk about it more, but your smoke isn't super important. Your mid players are going to need your smoke more. So if you know how to do the instant window smokes, it's best that you throw a window smoke for your teammates, or you just throw a top mid smoke for them, or you throw a connector smoke for them, right? If you use your smoke for them, or like you just drop it to them, right? Somebody else throws a smoke, you drop it to them, you buy double flash. It's better that they have those smokes to re-smoke stuff in middle than it is for you to have that smoke. Early round, as an A lurk, you're gonna be doing like one of kind of three different things. Number one, you're just gonna be chilling, right? You're gonna be just holding the push and you're gonna be waiting to activate in the mid round. Number two, if you have a good spawn, then you can look for the ramp cross. You can run up, come here, be loud, and then just hold this cross, see if you can catch somebody jumping towards jungle. Number three, again, if you also have a good spawn, then you can look for a pick ramp early by jumping up and just looking for this fight. Like we talked about on CT, maybe you didn't see it, maybe you did. A really effective play that you can make is CT's molly ramp. Maybe they don't throw a very good molly, so it can be good early on to like see how they're throwing their mollies, because lots of times there's gonna be a gap here that you can jump on and you can look for a fight right here. If you've been taking this lurk pretty slow, then what you can also do is just immediately at the beginning of the round, look for this fight. Come out and try to kill them. This is especially good if they are throwing those mid flashes early and then they're resetting and going somewhere else. You have a really good time and you can just come out and just try to take that fight while they're triple. When you're lurking A and you're playing for the mid round, right, you're trying to walk out after your teammates have done some stuff middle, after the CTs, you know, one or two of them have died. Their focus is more so towards mid than it is on A. It's really all about timing for you. And how you get good timings coming out of A is one of two ways. Number one, the CT just tells you where they are and you swing off of that info. Sometimes a CT will jump top ticket and they'll look towards con like this. This is especially common if their con player dies, and they'll look for this fight because they think everybody's middle, and then you can just instantly swing off that. Or you just hear a footstep on site and you just activate off of that. If the CT isn't giving you any info, but your teammates are scaling up through con, right? The A split is happening, you need to activate, you need to do something, then just dry walking out and just searching for this player can be really effective. You just have to be worried about if you're walking out ramp in the mid round and the op is still alive, they could just be ticket holding you right here. So give this a really purposeful peek. Make sure if they are opping, okay, I'm just going to destroy this guy if they're just standing there. One thing you have to think about as this A lurk is that you can't be uber scared. If you want to have impact as this lurk, you're going to have to take risks. And one risk you're going to have to take is you're going to have to walk through smokes. You're going to get smoked palace. Sometimes you're going to get smoked ramp. And if your teammates are being active, they're going up con, or you feel like you just have a timing for a pick, then you should walk through these smokes and not worry about it, right? The goal here is that you just catch a timing where they smoke ramp and then they think, okay, because I smoke ramp, I don't have to look at ramp anymore. And they feel really comfortable with that. You walk through the smoke, you get the kill, bang, you guys just win the round because you got that entry. If you're lurking towards A and your mid players run out of util and you want to throw a something to help them, then throwing a top connector smoke can be really effective. You're just going to get into this corner. You're going to aim for the tip of this palm tree right here in the green and just left click jump through. This is going to land top con, and top con smokes, we'll talk about it more when we talk about mid defaulting, but the top con smoke is the perfect smoke for the mid round on T side. It blocks these angles from A, so then A players can't see if you're going up short, and it also lets your con players sneak out and pressure A through these two lurks. In your Mirage games, filling this role as the A lurk can be really effective when your team is able to take mid, but then we just get fully stuck mid. If you go mid with your teammate and we're like teammates and we're like 4 out mid, 5 out mid, we take mid and then we don't know where to go, we don't know what to do, then it's better for you to go towards A and be a lurk instead of being one of those mid defaulters. That's because if you're A and you're lurking out, you can be a voice. You could say, hey, I'm walking out A, you guys should pinch, you guys should go through con. Or if you just get the pick on A, bang, that's a really good incentive for your teammates to speed up con and to actually do something from mid. So filling this gap can be really effective, but it kind of hinges on the fact that your team is able to do something mid, right? They're able to pressure mid, they're able to get kills. If the rest of your team is super passive and not taking any space, then you lurking A isn't going to be very effective because the CTs will take mid, see nobody's here, and then just come towards A and just hold you. That's when lurks aren't going to be good towards A. If another person is lurking A or somebody else comes with you, then you guys should try to do something together. It's useless for you to sit ramp and hold ramp while your teammate is walking out palace. You guys should try to double. Either you come ramp, they go palace, and you walk out at the same time, or you go double together. Double palace typically isn't that great. If you're doubling, like, you know, your teammate's right next to you, you guys should come double ramp and walk out ramp and contact it like this. That's much more effective than double palace. Next, let's talk about the 3 mid defaulters, / just in general, how to take middle on Mirage. Your mid take starts in spawn, and what I mean by that is that you're going to throw all the smokes you need to take mid from spawn, and so you need to coordinate with your teammates who's throwing what, and also what's our pace going to be when we go out mid. There are instant window smokes you can learn from a handful of spawns, and I would highly recommend that you do. They're so strong, and they're actually surprisingly easy to learn. If you don't want to do that, or you just want to know how to smoke window, you come here against this bin, and then you aim. You see, I think of this as a square where this meets this, and then I aim for the bottom kind of left of it right there, and I hold D, jump throw. The instant smokes are better because they land significantly faster, and they're also faster to throw. The other 2 smokes you should know from spawn is a top mid smoke, so you're just going to go to this other side of the bin for that, and then you're going to aim at the tip of this antenna right here. Just a left click throw that plumes out far enough left where it's going to cover you entirely from bottom con on your cross towards boxes. The 3rd smoke you should know is a connector smoke, and one consistent way to throw it is you jump on top of the bin, you crouch, you aim at where the rug meets this point where the orange and tan meet, so right here, and then while you're crouched, left click jump throw. That's going to land inside connector and fully smoke it off if you want to cross towards short. So what smokes should you throw mid and why? I would say on most of your defaults, you should have either a top mid smoke and a window smoke. This combination is really solid. Or you should have a window smoke and a connector smoke. If your team is only throwing a window smoke, then you're giving the CTs a lot of space in connector and in short to swing you and fight you guys out mid, right? Coming out mid without a con smoke or without a top mid smoke, very spooky. So if you are on a team like that and nobody's throwing, let's say you're throwing window and nobody else is throwing a smoke mid, either ask somebody to drop you a smoke mid so you can throw both, or ask somebody to molly con at the very beginning, or you can molly con at the very beginning, right? That way, if you molly bottom con, that gives you some space to get out mid and relieves some pressure from being swung on from both short and connector. Another way you can take mid is just by dry swinging it. If you have a good spawn for mid and some of your teammates have good spawns, then just tell them, hey, let's go dry swing mid, right? Let's just go fight it. When you guys dry swing, it's typically best to do this if you don't think that they're opping. If they're opping, like we talked about on CT side, and you dry swing this, they can get one and fall off, and it's really hard to trade that. But if you think that they're rifles or they're eco, then just dry swinging mid with numbers is really effective. Now, let's say you're not dry swinging and you want to get out mid, you have a top mid smoke and you have a window smoke. What util should you be throwing from top mid? There's quite a few different things that you can throw that will be really effective at stopping CT aggression or getting CTs off of angles. The first one is this, just a flash over top mid boxes. This is going to blind any CTs who are pushing up mid like that. The second one is a flash towards connector. This is going to pop bottom mid right here, and if anybody's running up con and they're going to go for a peek, this flash is going to full blind them. If you feel like the CTs could be bottom mid, could be valley right here, and you're worried about swinging this dry, you can throw flashes towards valley just like that, and that's going to full blind them as you're swinging, especially if they're sitting here or if they're sitting under, they have to full dodge that, and bottom con, of course. From stairs, you can throw some really good supporting flashes. One is called the what is this called? The big flash? I got made fun of by Freakazoid by asking him for this flash because he said it's such an old flash, but it's still so effective. It's going to blind an opper who's sitting window and lets you just swing out mid if window's not smoked. Less aggressive flashes, but flashes that are meant to deal with aggression, you're going to throw from around here, and you can just throw these towards valley, right? Your teammates are going to have to turn them, but you just tell them that, hey, turn the flash, bang, and then they swing, and if anybody's chilling valley or being aggressive, they should just kill them because they're going to be full blind. When you have a decent spawn towards top mid, then throwing some sort of piece of util towards con, especially if we're not smoking con, is really good. You don't want the con player on CT to feel really confident with just running out mid and fighting you guys. So throw a nade into con or throw a molly. If somebody's here with you, ask them to double nade it with you. That can be really effective as well. Once you're scaling out mid, you want to get away from boxes. Being boxes feels very safe, and it's good to be boxes if the CTs are being really aggressive, right? If they're swinging short, if they're swinging con, then being here is really solid. But the longer the round goes on, the more useless you are sitting boxes, right? So if you cross mid at the very beginning of the round and you get towards boxes, cool, definitely like hang out here for a little bit, look for a fight. If your team is defaulting, you don't have to be super speedy. See if the CTs are going to re-aggress into you, and then you can throw a window smoke from behind boxes right here. Just aim, I typically aim just a bit to the right of this antenna, and just run left click throw, and that's going to be a nice window smoke for you. You can throw that same lineup for window with your molly if you don't have a smoke. You can also smoke short from here, this cubby, just aim for the tip of this antenna, left click throw. You can flash connector by coming into this corner, this other corner. You see this kind of X right here, just on the right side, left click, and bang. This is gonna pop right in front of con, so tell your teammate turn it, bang, and then they swing off of it. Another way you can flash con is from right here. You're just gonna come against this wall and then aim above the middle of connector right here. So I see this, you know, little vague tan line top of that where it meets the roof, and left click throw, and boom, that's your con flash, and that's going to get any opper or rifler who's sitting here off of the angle. The typical kind of way you're going to scale out mid with your teammates is one person is going to play towards chair. They're going to get out here and hold the short aggress. Another player is going to get down in valley and look towards con, and they're often going to throw a top con smoke like that. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And the third player will either stay top mid and hold towards window, or hold towards short, or hold a con peak, or they're going to get up short. And these two, right, once one guy's up short and this guy's down to here in valley, these two can double swing con in a high-low and make this fight super awkward for a con player. So if you feel like you go out mid and then you're constantly being surprised by CT swinging stuff and you're not holding it and you die, then you probably should take a look at how you're positioned compared to where your teammates are, right? If your teammate comes short and then you double up short with them and nobody's here towards chair, well, if a short player swings, right, bang, that's just an easy double for them, and they're not in a position to get traded by anybody because we don't have anybody who could kill them. So back to the top con smoke. The reason why this smoke is so strong and why more people should be throwing it on their defaults, you'll see it a ton in pro play, and I barely ever see it in pugs, especially lower elo pugs. Nobody throws a top con smoke. It's so good because it gives you access to con, right? If a CT wants to fight con, they just have to commit in front of the smoke and they have no help from their teammates. Super awkward. Most of the time, a CT just won't play in con when this top con smoke lands. They'll just get out of con. And then from a CT perspective, the smoke is super awkward because they can push, you know, T's could push this side, they can push this side, they can just push through the smoke, they can flash into the smoke, and I wouldn't be able to see the flash, right? I could show you one, just right click, just drop a flash in, bang. And then as a CT, I just can't react to that. I'm holding, bang, I'm blind, right? If you're a T and you're getting up con and you throw a top con smoke, it also allows you to throw util towards jungle, right? Whether you want to smoke jungle off or whether you want to molly deep jungle off and then flash through and take it and get out, bang. It's just suffocating for CTs throwing the smoke. So please throw top con smoke more. And the way you can throw it is left side. You just aim at this like electrical box here and just shift walk, left click throw. That's going to land top con. If you're coming from this side, then you aim just to the left of this lamp, this light right here. Shift walk, left click throw, and both of those are going to land nicely into top con. So use the smoke as a lurk smoke, walk through it, get upstairs and look for this fight against jungle, walk through the right side, or you can do a split where like one teammate goes there, you go stairs, right? Coordinate that with a teammate. That's really effective as well, because if a CT is holding one and they kill them, then the other teammate can just trade them from the other side. I talked about all the ways it helps with your A take, right? But it also helps with your short take. You throw a top con smoke, this smoke doesn't indicate, hey, we're going up short right now, but a smoke towards bottom con does. If I throw this smoke in the mid round, this tells the CTs they're probably not coming A, right? And so because I throw that smoke, it's more likely that once we're going up short, a CT is going to sit here really confidently and just spam through the smoke and just try to kill all of us as we're going up short. But I can get a CT out of position by throwing a top con smoke. They play around here jungle, right? They're worried about the push. They also have to worry about a window lurk. And then bang, we're running up short. They're not in a position to really action off of that sound or that info. And boom, our short take is much easier. When you're in doubt with what to do with your smoke mid, right? Window is always the place where you should be re-smoking. You pretty much never want to leave window open. So re-smoke window or smoke top con. Smoking short is good for like set, like we are going up con this round, right? But it also acts as a smoke against us, because if I throw this smoke in the mid round, then we just can't go short for 20 seconds. right? We're kind of forced into making a connector or a window play. Let's talk about some solo plays slash just some aggressive plays you can make towards middle. This one, you do need a little help from a teammate. Ask a teammate to throw a top mid smoke for you. It doesn't even have to be a very good top mid smoke, as long as it blocks window, which that one somehow didn't. Throw a top mid smoke for you. You're going to come up, you're going to flash con, and then you're going to molly window. And then you're going to jump through the mid smoke. You're going to hold window. Okay, nothing. And then you're going to insta swing con. This, you're so fast and you're here bottom con at such an unexpected timing. Lots of times you're just going to kill somebody top con who's just not ready for you. Once you're towards bottom mid, a really cheeky play you can make is if you stand here against the bench and you aim at this red dot and then right click jump throw and then jump up window, this flash is going to pop here and it's not going to blind you. So even if a CT hears you running on the bench and knows you're about to peek this, they're just going to eat this flash and die for it. If you're able to lurk into ladder at some point in the round, then you just chilling here is really strong. I don't want you to go ladder when your team is being loud up short and they're trying to split B. There's no reason to get into ladder unless you're really just hardcore, I'm going to hold the rotate. But if you don't have sight yet, then why are you holding rotates? You should just go B and clear out sight with your teammates. But if as a solo player, you come out mid, maybe the CT's sort of weird smoke that allows you to lurk into ladder and then bang, you get in here. Just chilling here and listening right from ladder, you can hear a B anchor rotate. You can hear the short player rotate. You can hear the window player rotate. Being in this spot, even if you don't get a kill, will just give you so much info. And then, of course, from here, you're the ultimate rotate holder. If your team goes out A, then you can hold the short rotate right here, and you can hold the jungle rotate right here. And this is so good if the CTs aren't expecting you to be in ladder. Last on our T side default, let's talk about the B lurk. The B lurk is quite a flexible position. You don't see a ton of action because you're not taking really early fights for the most part, but you do kind of get to pick and choose what you do. Sometimes you can go 4 mid and that's totally fine, right? 4 out top mid. Sometimes you're going to go into apps and you're going to lurk apps and you're going to see if the T's are or if the CTs are pushing apps. And sometimes you're going to go underpass and you're going to work underpass and you're going to help your mid players take mid from underpass. So when should you do what and when should you go try to be a B lurk? I often B lurk if I'm running towards middle and I see, okay, 3 other people have already gone towards mid, I'll just go towards B. I think having 4 top mid can be quite strong if you're using the fact that you have 4 top mid, right? You're being really aggressive, you're all swinging together. But if we're defaulting, people aren't really calming, then I think it's better to have a B lurk. So I will fill that role when it's needed. Early on in games, I think it's most effective if you do lurk towards apps. Being a lurk towards apps can be pretty useless because if the B player is playing it well, right, they're jump spotting, they're just seeing if you're there or not, then there's not a whole lot you can do. But by lurking in apps early in games, you can try to find gaps. You can try to get a read on the B player, right? Are they pushing every round? What are they doing? And you can see if like they're just giving you a ton of space and letting you lurk up. And if they're not jump spotting, they're not taking info, that's really good info for you and for your team because that allows you to say, hey, we should just do a contact play B. We should all just silently walk up apps together and just look for this guy, right? And then once we take contact, let's see his backside, boom, we shoot, and then now we're being loud now that we got the kill. Getting an idea of how the B anchor is playing the site on CT side is really effective as a T side B lurk. So let's say you do that and you spot them just jump spotting you over and over again. And okay, obviously I'm not really going to do much in apps if I try to do that because they're just going to jump spot, get info, and then not give me a good fight. Then I'm going to start most of my rounds by going towards underpass. Now, if you want to go fast towards underpass, you can come out from TV, scale towards this left side, and then once you're about here, just right click a flash directly in front of you. Just like 90 degrees upwards, right? Just full straight in front of you. I'm sorry, I've recorded so much, dude, my brain is fried. Bang, this flash is gonna pop lower. So CT who's running up, boom, they get blinded. They either have to fall or just swing into you blind, and you should get that kill easy peasy. Now, one thing is after you throw this flash, right, throw it, and then turn, and then swing. The reason for that is as a CT, you can throw this, you come under, then you throw a flash like that, bang, and then you swing with that, right? So if both of you do a fast underpass play and both of you are flashing, then you want to be the one who plays anti. If you're not going underpass fast, like you're not throwing that flash, you're not going to play anti, then you should spot it like this. If you immediately start walking down and hold like this, then you're just going to get blinded and a CT is going to swing you and they're going to destroy you if they're a decent player and they're pushing under. So play it more passive if you're not going to go fast, right? Play up here, spot it, timeout peek, see if they're going to push, And then once you feel confident, okay, they're not taking underpass fast, then speed up towards under and start taking it. Being in underpass is an awful place to be if your teammates aren't pressuring top mid. If your teammates aren't out top mid and like they don't have smokes down, they're not doing anything, mid is empty, and you're walking up under, you're just begging for a CT to swing you here, and this is a super favorable fight for the CT because there's such little space here. Their crosshair placement is just so easy. They should just destroy you every time, and you just have to hold W into them when walking this way. It's super awkward. But when you're scaling under, don't just shift and just hold W. Go in diagonals like this, and you can crouch, hold W and A, and W and D, crouch and go in diagonals, and just make sure that if a CT peeks you, you're not going just straight at them. They're going to destroy you. You're going in diagonals and you can fight back. Once you're up underpass, if you're worried about a CT holding you on this angle, you can just bounce a flash like this, bang, and just get them off of that angle. That's pretty annoying as a CT. They can just try to edge the flash out barely like that, but if they do that, I mean, you know exactly where they're playing. You should just shit on them with your crosshair placement, and then it goes the same if somebody's holding you here. Bottom con, they're gonna be forced to turn this or get full blinded by it. Once you've pushed up underpass, there are generally two things that you can do that will kind of speed up the round and allow you guys to take some space. Number one is boost somebody into window. Window should be smoked. You come here, you boost somebody into window. This is good because if somebody's like being loud jumping into window, then the CTs know, okay, somebody's in window. Boost somebody silently into window, or you get boosted, ask somebody else to boost you. Or the second option is to throw a top con smoke. Like we talked about in our mid default, this top con smoke allows you guys to do something, right? You can lurk through it, you can push A, you can go up short, whatever. If you're going up short, if your teammates are going up short, then either you getting boosted into window and you hold the rotates, you're chilling here, you're playing sound, or you walk back towards apps and then you go towards B. That's efficient too. You can also smoke short from under, just loosey goosey. You just run through it against the right side of that. I never do this, to be honest with you. I will always prefer to throw a top con smoke than a short smoke, so it is an option, but I would say you should prioritize your smoke for top con. B isn't really like A, where when you lurk in B apps, it's pretty tricky to get a pick on the B player, right? Either they're going to be jump spotting or they're going to be playing one of the a billion different off angles that can catch you walking out B, right? So as a B lurk, don't feel like you have to be walking out apps and finding this B pick. That's super hard to do. Instead, get a read on what the B player is doing and help your teammates take mid, go underpass, have some impact there. So that's how you play each position. Let's talk about now how to execute A site. The two most important smokes on an A site execute is your jungle smoke and your stairs smoke. The reason why you wouldn't want to smoke CT is because you want to take CT. If USTs come out A, you plant bomb, and you're able to take CT control, you should just win that round. You having this space, having ramp, having palace, bomb is planted for everything. That's a super difficult retake for CTs. So here's two different ways you can throw right side smokes on your own. If you get up to this door and somebody drops you a smoke, you can stand here on the right side of it. For the first smoke, you're going to aim just in the jumble of these wires, left click jump throw. Second smoke, you're going to aim at the corner of this roof, just off into the blue a little bit, and left click jump throw. You should throw this one first, actually the stair smoke, and then throw the jungle smoke because the stair smoke takes longer to land. But this is what they look like. Boom, jungle smoke, and stairs is smoked. The disadvantage to these is that they go super high in the sky. So if an A player sees them, they can call the smokes, tell their team, hey, the T's are smoking A, really far in advance, right? Because they take so long to land. So it's better to throw these when you can. If you can get up on top of this bit, have somebody drop you a smoke up here. They can drop you a smoke here, right? They just jump and toss the smoke there. You come up, you drop one smoke there, and then you go grab the smoke that they dropped. Once you're up here with both smokes, you're going to get into this corner with the wood plank. For your jungle smoke, you're going to aim up above the middle of this bit, just right in the middle, left click throw. Stairs smoke, there's this like kind of hook right here, and you're going to left and right click jump throw your smoke at the tip of this hook, this splotch right here, left and right click jump throw. These are going to land much faster than those other smokes that I showed you. It's just a bit more of a pain to get up and get into this corner than it is to be at the door. If you do want to throw CT smoke, the best way you can do it is come against this corner. It's kind of weird clipping, but I get all the way horizontal, and then once you start to go forward, you back up and you just stay on this horizontal edge right here, and then you're going to aim for the middle of this stick that sticks out. Left click jump throw. The great thing about this CT smoke, why it's better than others, is it's going to land on ticket, boom, and it's going to plume upwards heavily. So CTs can still jump up all the way up here, but they can't make plays on top of this middle bit. It's a really nice CT smoke. If you just threw these smokes, these right side smokes, then you can flash for your team by sending one flash deep and then sending one lamp flash. The deep flash is intended to push any opper off of CT, right? If there's an opper chilling here, then bang, the flash pops, they're blinded, they have to run away, and then you send one lamp flash to blind anybody that's close to ramp. Bang, boom, they're swinging. Anybody here would be blind, anybody close would be blind by this lamp flash. If you just threw the right side smokes from up here, wait for them to land, and then you can throw one deep flash towards CT, and then you're gonna right click a flash, hold it, shift walk, and then jump throw right when you get to the end of this, and this flash is gonna pop right here and blind anybody who's playing very close, and it won't blind your teammates. Now, my best tip for you as the person who's throwing smokes or throwing flashes on A execs or on any exec ever on any map is that you kind of need to turn into an IGL. You need to dictate the timing. You need to tell your team what to do. If you come up and you throw the smokes and then you don't say anything, you don't tell your team what smokes you're throwing, you don't say anything, you just throw a flash and then you run out, don't be shocked if your team isn't going. You haven't told them anything. You haven't told them when the flash is going. You haven't told them what you're smoking, when it's going to be smoked, right? So you need to communicate when you're throwing these execs, right? Tell your team, hey, okay, shift walk, shift walk. All right, smoking jungle now. I'm smoking stairs. Let's wait. I'll flash for you. Just wait, wait, wait. And then we listen for them to pop. Bloom, bloom. Okay, I'm flashing CT. I'm gonna flash close. Ready? Go, 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 go. Right? Like, be active, be vocal, tell your team what to do. So many people get upset that their team like doesn't go on execs, or I threw util, but nobody went out. It's because you didn't tell them to go out, and you also didn't give them like a reason why it's okay to go out, right? With your flashbangs, use your flashbang as a way to make people go, right? If I say, I'm flashing for you, ready? Ready? Flashing now? Here we go. Bang. If I'm like enthusiastic telling them, bang, here we go, you know, it makes them want to go because they feel like they're going to get a kill off the flash. Sure, sometimes people are still going to bait. Sometimes they're still not going to want to entry, but try to be proactive like that. Try to get people to go do shit because you can't do everything for them, right? Now, when you're coming out A, let's say somebody else threw smokes for you and you're entrying or you just one of the riflers up front, don't get stuck Tetris, right? You threw smokes, don't just get stuck around here. You want to path out to the left, clear CT, clear under, you want to get active, get out. So if you're the very first person, be okay turning your back towards jungle, turning your back towards CT, hard clearing under, hard clearing CT, right? You should have somebody next to you just following you, ready to trade you or holding stuff that you're not holding. And if you see somebody else entering in this path, then you should follow them, be the trader. What I see a lot of people do is that instead of scaling towards the left, they scale out towards the right, towards sandwich, and then they get close to this jungle smoke. They're not able to take CT, rotates come in, and then finally by the time they get up here to try to take CT, there's two people CT, these jungle smokes are gone, right? When you swing out to the right, you're not really clearing all too much. Of course, you're clearing kind of ninja, but you're not clearing under. Somebody could still be default. You want to get out into sight and hard clear stuff and take the space as fast as possible because you don't want to waste the timing on these right side smokes. Once these right side smokes are gone, A is really scary. There's a ton of space open, CT and jungle. We want to make use of those right side smokes and take CT while they're still up. So then boom, we take CT. Okay, now that we have CT, these smokes are starting to fade and we're in a really comfortable spot. From Tetris, if you know, like you have info, somebody's default or somebody's under bulk, then it's totally okay to pause for a second and throw some util to clear them out. If you're Tetris, you're coming out ramp, you just bank mollies against the left side of the sign. Those are going to land under bulk and flush out any CT plane there. You can also, of course, just like jiggle this and the molly default like that. If you're one of the people who is late to the party, right? You're like 4th or 5th out and your teammates are scaling up sight, throwing flashes into CT is always good. You want to delay these CT retakes, and you should also tell your team when you're doing this. That way, if the opponents are playing retake, right, there's a CT just chilling here holding this, bang, this flash pops, and then your teammates swing and kill them. They might even turn that, but hopefully your teammates just swing as it pops, so then they kill them while they're turned. For the most part, you're going to be planting default. If you have the opportunity to, planting back triple is significantly better than planting default because now it's planted for ramp. If you plant back triple, this crossfire between CT and ramp is brutal trying to defuse the spawn. It's so difficult. Planting default, totally fine, but if you can, try to get towards back triple and plant here. One thing you have to be worried about when you're executing A and you're scaling out is a CT playing through the jungle smoke here. So in reaction, you can molly it like that, molly their swing, this prevents them from being aggressive. They can't just hard swing out, but they can edge the smoke here and play like this. That is a concern. They won't take from the molly. So be mindful of that. Be ready for that, right? There's some really important things you need to know if you're Palace during an A execute. One thing that is key is that you're not scared, is that you're going to swing when your teammates are taking sight. And the reason for that is that if your teammates are running out ramp, they're being aggressive, you need to kill this default player. If somebody's default and they're just staying alive, you can't give them the timing where they can throw a flash, they can throw a defensive smoke, they can do something to delay. Your job is to swing and just kill this player. You can throw some pretty good utility from Palace. One is the under balk molly. You come to this second pillar, second pillar closest to the balk. Just on the edge of it, you aim where the roof meets the wall right here, or the tiling. And then you run. And then about when your crosshair meets like the top of this light, that's when you let go, and that's going to molly under balk. You can also throw a pretty nifty flash from the middle of this pillar. You come here. This is the closest pillar to the balcony. You see on the wall, there's this crack right here, and there's a dark line, like this line that separates a lighter bit from a darker bit. You go where this crack meets that line and left click throw. This flash is going to bounce and pop right here. So anybody playing default is going to eat this flash. Anybody playing on top of balk can definitely react to it, but if they don't, they're also going to get blinded by it. If the CTs are smoking Palace at the beginning of every single round and you're getting ready for an A execute, then get this lineup ready, because this is an excellent flash to push the smoke with. One thing you do have to be concerned about is that it could blind your teammates if they're already swung super far out. I mean, that one didn't, but if they're already really far out, it will blind them. So throw it like as your teammates are throwing lamp flashes as they're coming out ramp. That's a good timing to throw it. If you get up to close Palace like this, then you can just throw util towards under balk for free, right? Throwing a flash is surprisingly really good when you throw it under, because if a player is default, you throw this flash, they have to turn it or else they're just going to eat it. Or even if they're looking at you, this is still just going to blind them. It puts a lot of pressure on this player. Last thing I'll say about the Palace player is that you don't have to commit out of Palace. Palace is a super strong post plant spot and a really strong spot to hold CT aggression. On CT, we went over ways that you can make plays through the jungle smoke, through the stairs smoke. A lot of those ways, a lot of those plays is countered by a patient Palace player, right? So if you do, as a CT, if you make the sandwich drop, a Palace player will just punish you for that. If you swing through the jungle smoke, a Palace player should be ready for this too. They can easily see flashbangs thrown from jungle, so they can react off of it, tell their teammates, hey, they're flashing jungle, care. If you really need numbers to take CT, then okay, go help your team take CT. You can also flash CT from Palace for your teammates too. Otherwise, I would recommend staying Palace. Regardless of where the bomb is planted, you're in a really good post-plant spot, and it's not really worth giving that up unless you really have to. One thing I need to mention is that if you've been going mid every round, right, your teammates have been pressuring mid, and then all of a sudden you guys don't do anything mid, it might be kind of obvious that you're executing A. So it can be good for you or a teammate to throw a top mid smoke and even to come up and throw a couple flashes towards mid and then come back towards A. That way the CTs don't get full info mid and they still have to worry about T's being top mid, being boxes, and they're not going to come back and stack A site based off of that mid info. Next, let's talk about how to do a good B rush. B rushes are good to do on low buys, of course, because you're going to close distance. You're going to take a lot of close range fights when you get out B. They're also good to do when you know that their B anchor is just bad, right? If they're not playing well, then just abusing that can be really, really strong. One thing I see in lower elos is that people will play 2A, 1 con, 1 window, and then 1 towards B. And a lot of low elo Mirage games are super winnable if you just go B every round until you force the CTs to actually play 2 players towards B. So if you recognize like every time we go A, there's like 4 fucking people there, just go B, just send it B. Here's how a B rush works. And this is incredibly important because what I'm about to talk about applies to pretty much every rush ever. So, lock in. Your responsibility in a rush is going to be based on your spawn. If you have the best spawn, then you need to use it. If you have the best spawn, you can't be the person who stops and throws a window smoke. You're wasting your spawn, right? We rush so that we can exploit that early timing. When we exploit early timings, we have a better idea of where CTs are going to play, and we're going to get there sometimes before they expect us to be there. So you have best spawn, you're going to be the entry, you're going first, you need to be aggressive, and you need to take space. On B site Mirage, you can come out, you can throw a flash like this, that's going to bounce through the window. You can also throw one just against here on the bottom of this bit. This flash is going to pop out here and blind any short player playing like this. Bang, they're blind. So first spawn, you can focus on a flash. You can throw that one. You can also throw this one. And then you are jumping out window. Okay? You're jumping out the window. If you're first spawn on a B rush on Mirage, you're jumping out the window. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, all right? The second spawn, the second closest player to wherever we're rushing is following the entry and playing firefight. Firefight means, like I said, you're gonna extinguish whatever molly the CTs throw. As this firefight player, I'm gonna have my smoke out ready before the CTs even throw the molly, right? I'm gonna expect this molly. So I'm following my entry, the molly comes out, I smoke the molly, and then I screwed up the movement, and then I'm gonna follow the entry wherever they go. The reason for that is because if my entry runs out window, right? They're taking space, they get out here and they hit the short player for 99 damage and then they die. If we don't have somebody to trade them, then what are we doing, right? If I'm with my entry, I'm on their ass and I follow them and then I trade that kill, huge. That kill grants us a ton of space. You win rushes through trading. So as a second player, follow your entry. Wherever they go, you go. Your job is to trade them and to smoke the molly early. The third and the fourth spawn are going to just look for kills, right? They're going to come out apps. They don't need to jump through the window. If you're on low buy, like Tech 9, Mac 10, you definitely can. But if you're on a full buy, then these two players can just search. You could think of it as like two pairs of twos, right? The entry and the trader are going out, they're taking space. The other two are clearing the rest of the space, and they're more so looking for fights. They're more so looking for the kill. They're not necessarily being relentless, like going. They can be a bit more patient with how they take the fights. That means that as this third or fourth spawn, if you have util, right, you have a molly, you have nade, you can molly towards van, you can come up, you can molly jail like that. That's really effective. Molly jail, molly bench. Sometimes this doesn't spread all the way, but that one did. Another really good molly to throw is a backside molly. You throw this and it mollies empty pillar right here. That, you know, if you watch the B anchor bit, that flushes a B anchor out and forces them to fight you guys, which is really good. You want to kill that guy as fast as possible. The fifth player is typically the util thrower, the support player. They're going to come here. Most often on Mirage, they're going to throw a window smoke. I aim at this corner and just slightly to the right here. That way, this smoke consistently lands within the window. Boom, there we go. And then I'm going to throw supporting flashes for my teammates. And to do that, I'm just going to go top underpass. I'm going to aim around the top of the window and just run jump throw these flashes. If I'm worried about a short player, I can throw one deep flash there, and then I can shift walk a flash, throwing it like that. That way, that shorter flash is going to blind any short player sitting around here. Let's talk about some solo plays you can make on T side to get picks and open the round up. Towards middle, having the best mid spawn, go dry swing it. If you don't think that the CTs have an op, then you should pretty much always just dry swing mid with your best spawn and take this duel against the window player. As we looked at in the timing section, only 2 of the 5 CT spawns beat the best T spawn, which means there's only a 40% chance that the window player will be window before you swing mid. So you have an advantageous fight. Go take it. Go take that 1v1. With a good mid/B spawn, going fast underpass can be really effective as well. You're just going to come into apps. You're going to aim like this with your flash, right click it, jump out, and then turn it. It's going to pop right there, and then you're going to swing the CTU standing here full blind and just kill them for free. If their B player sucks or is jump spotting in a really terrible way, then coming into apps early and holding for the jump spot can be a free way to get a pick. You can also jump on top of this couch, and then this gives you a higher angle, which means that they're going to be in the air for longer, you know, relative to you. And this can make getting this kill even easier. If you have a good A spawn, then you have some options of what you can do. The first thing you can do is just spot the jungle cross and look here. This is a low risk, you know, high reward play, but it's not super likely that you're going to hit this shot. Instead, what you can do is get up into ramp and play like this. That way you open the angle up. And if you have a really good spawn and they try to cross with a bad spawn, you could be taking the fight out here, and that's just a free pick. Another play that you can make is that if the CTs are throwing a ramp molly, but the ramp molly really isn't that good, then you can jump up behind it, like right here, and look for this fight right here. The last thing you can do is just go out A and try to get a pick and try to, like, if you get traded, it's fine, but you're just going to be aggressive and you're going to try to go get a kill. What you're going to do is you're going to run up to ramp, you're going to smoke it like that, and then you're going to flash it like that, bang, and then you're swinging with this flash and you're trying to get this kill on the A player. That way you're smoking the molly and then you're sending a flash too, so if they are close, they will get blinded by this. Bang. Free pick. You typically shouldn't go fast palace, but if you have a read that the CTs are never really peeking palace or they're never playing on top of Balk, if they're playing default or triple a lot and the other CT, the other A player is committing towards connector a lot, then you can go fast palace and just really quickly try to find this pick on the A player. This is even better if you have somebody towards ramp who can throw either above palace flash like that or a lamp flash like that. The above palace is slightly better, but risky play, right? But can work out a lot. If you're coming towards mid and your teammates threw a top mid smoke, then one kind of risky, silly little play you can make is by walking through the right side of it and looking for this pick against the window player or against a connector player who's not looking at you. Another way you can use that top mid smoke is that if your teammate threw it quick, you can immediately run out, gun out, and just swing window from this side of it. A lot of window players, oppers, they're going to sit here and hold right side boxes, and while they're scoped, if you swing right here, they're just going to die. Welcome to the must-know utility section. For T side, I'm going to run through the smokes, flashes, mollies that I think every level 10 should know on Mirage. And if you're not level 10, then you knowing this util just raises your floor as a player on Mirage significantly. Now, I've shown a lot of this util already in the position-specific segments, but I'm assuming people are going to bounce around this video a ton, and this is the part where if you need to know the util, this is the util you need to know. I'm going to sort of go left to right on the map. So we're going to start with Palace. I don't really expect my teammates to know util from Palace. There's not really all that much that you can throw. The one thing that like maybe I'm hoping people know is how to molly under balk, but this is kind of a luxury and not a super necessary piece of util to know. So to throw it, all you're going to do is you're going to come to the second pillar that's closest to the balcony, line up with the edge of it, aim where this tile meets the wall, and then you're going to hold W until you reach the top of that light and left click throw, and that's going to land under balcony. The good CT smoke you're going to get against this wall, go all the way until you start going forward. Okay, go back and then just get towards the tip of this weird kind of clipping. Aim at the middle of this wood plank, left click, jump throw. This is going to land on top of ticket. This is the best ticket smoke you can throw because it plumes upwards. Beautiful. Right side smokes, two ways to throw them. One from here on the right side of this door. You're going to left click jump throw at the wires, and then you're going to left click jump throw at this corner right here. This is your jungle smoke and your stairs smoke. These do take quite a long time to land, and this jungle smoke plumes out quite a lot. You can also throw these from up here. You're going to get somebody to drop you a smoke here. For your jungle smoke, you're going to aim at the top middle of this square. Stairs smoke, you're going to aim at this black splotch straight ahead of you. And you're going to left and right click jump throw. That was a flash. You're going to left and right click jump throw that smoke. These are going to land much faster, and they're going to be a bit more tucked in, so they're just generally better than the other ones I just showed you. Once you're out Tetris, you can throw some pretty decent utility from here. If you get into this corner and you aim at the tip of this wooden bit, left click throw, that's a CT smoke. You can also smoke jungle by aiming in the middle of this. I imagine this is square. Aim in the middle of it, left click throw. That's going to be a jungle smoke. Boom, CT smoked. And then jungle, bang, 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 is now smoked. You can also smoke top con, not from this corner, but from this corner here. You look at this wood plank sticking out just to the right of it, and then left click throw. There it is, boom, your top connector smoke. If your team doesn't have a smoke for stairs, or you just want to molly stairs for some reason from ramp, this is a good molly to know. As you run up ramp, you're going to aim, you see where this line is, just a little bit below it, just in this area, and you're going to left click throw that molly. This molly is going to land right on stairs. It's going to go downwards a ton for some reason, and it's going to prevent CTs from fighting you stairs. So if your teammate throws a jungle smoke and your team realizes, oh no, we don't have a stair smoke, then you can throw that molly on the run as you come out ramp. How to flash from ramp. Your first flash typically should be a deep flash. You're trying to get an opper off of the ticket angle, right? So you're going to run, jump, throw that flash. If your teammates run out ramp with it, they're going to get blinded by it. But the purpose is you throw it before your teammates run out, and then you follow that flash up with a lamp flash. This lamp flash, bang, pops here and blinds anybody playing close. The thing with the lamp flash is a lot of people throw it when they know that somebody's playing ticket, or they know that, you know, nobody's playing close ramp, and it's just not going to blind anybody ticket. So that's why you throw the deep flash first, and then you throw a lamp flash to clear out those close angles. If you're doing a palace pop and your team is coming out palace, then you want to flash above palace by just aiming up in this area and run, jump, throwing your flash. That way, somebody who's sitting default holding here, they're not even going to see this flash, bang, and they're going to get blinded by it, and then boom, your team is jumping out palace. If you're rushing A and you're entering, one util set you should know is you bounce to smoke against here, and then you bounce to flash, and then bang, you're going. You throw the smoke, so then you pre-smoke the molly. You don't have to purposely like look down and do it. You just throw that, you throw the flash, and then you're already swinging with your gun out, and you're blinding anybody who's playing close because the flash pops right here. Window smoke, top mid smoke, and con smoke, all from T-spawn. Your window smoke, you're going to come into this corner. You're going to aim where like this line meets this line, this box right here. I am on the left side of it. Hold D, jump throw. Your top mid smoke, you're going to get into this side of the bin, tip of the antenna, left click throw. Your connector smoke, you're going to get on top of the bin, crouch, Aim where the rug meets the orange meets the tan. So right here, and then left click jump throw while you're still crouched. Here is our top mid smoke. Here is our window smoke, and here is our connector smoke. From top mid, you should be able to throw util into connector without being able to see it. You look for this line right here, that gray line. And if you have a top mid smoke down, you look at that line, oh, you just aim below it, and then boom, you're throwing util into con. So rapid fire top mid util, you should know you should be able to throw a molly into con through that smoke. Same thing with a nade. These flashes are really good. Just flashing behind you as you swing, throwing this flash to deny a connector peek, flashing into valley, or even mollying into valley can be quite good if the CTs are being really aggressive. If the CTs are smoking bottom con consistently, then nading it against that wall, bang, and then you blow open the smoke, that can be really solid as well. From top mid boxes, you can smoke window just by aiming towards the bottom of this antenna where it meets the roof, run and left click throw, that's gonna land right in window. You can do that very same lineup with a molly, that's gonna land in window as well. To smoke short, get into this cubby, aim at the tip of this antenna, left click throw. To smoke top con, look at this gap right here in the palm tree towards the top of it, left click throw. This is gonna land towards top con, bounce, bounce, and then it's gonna come down here and land right there. Beautiful. From bottom mid, stop run throwing the smoke into window. I see so many people miss this stupid smoke because they run through it and it just bounces against the wall. Just a left click throw it, let it bounce deep, and then it's gonna plume out and get window. Stop missing your window smokes from bottom. It is silly. Top con smoke from left side, you just aim towards this E box as you're playing safe, right? You're not exposed to top con. You shift and you left click throw. Boom, there's a top con smoke. From this left side, you open yourself up and you see this light. Aim to the left side, shift walk, left click throw again. There's another top con smoke. Flashes into con, one from here, you're gonna get against this corner. Aim up here where this line meets the roof, left click throw, bang, there's a top con flash. The second one, this corner, where this X is, just to the right of it right here, left click throw, there's another con flash. B-site util, you can smoke window, come into this corner, aim at this left tip of the roof, left click jump throw. You can also smoke short this corner, just slightly to the left of it, left click throw. That's a deep short smoke. It's gonna bounce and then land about here. So boom, we have window smoked, and then we have short smoked right there. A more annoying short smoke to line up, but a better one that you can throw is you come here, you line up with this block, this rock right here. There's a crack in it right there. You line up with that while you crouch, stand up, this gray line to the left of it, a little bit on the bottom side of bottom edge of it, and a left click throw. This smoke is going to land deeper and short, so it's better than that first one I showed you because players playing here, they don't get any visibility, whereas a deeper one does allow them to be able to see a bit of balk and a bit of the window. Everybody should know how to flash B just like that. If you're level 10, you should probably know how to throw that flash, and then also missiles flashes. I actually missed that one. That's funny. Throw it towards the bottom, bang, and then it lands there, blinds anybody short. These flashes are incredibly strong for entering out B. Well, there you go. There's the video. Thanks for coming along on this Mirage journey with me. I know that took a while, but dude, you made it to the end. That's insane. Thank you. If you're here and you aren't subscribed to me, then please do subscribe, and please do like this video. If you learned one new thing, drop a like. I would appreciate it. Shout out to my channel members, dude. They help me be a goober on the internet. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Again, if you found this video helpful, please leave me a comment and let me know. I'm debating between doing this for every single map, so this is kind of my tester feeler, see if it's good, see if it's not, whatever. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback if you thought there was stuff I could do better. Thank you for being here, and good luck and have fun in all of your future games.